Hashugalan, dear Capricorn. I'm Ishka Medicine, your Arivern, for this reading. And hopefully, what's here will serve you, will serve purpose for you. Let's see what's going on here in the cards. So, in the spiritual realms right now, they're definitely, you fulfilled a lot, Capricorn. Already, there's fulfillment happening here for you. During this time. Okay, I see fulfillment, and it's going to be time to let some things die, to let some things go, to sort of die to your identity of who you were before, because that part of you has already been fulfilled, Capricorn. Okay, so there's no need to hold on to it anymore. Okay, so the Hunter of Death, this is a spiritual um this is a spiritual message for you to let go. You may be suffering, you may be losing some things, you may be going through some losses, you might be going through pain. The Hunter of Death is also a sign of grieving and lament and sorrow. The Hunter of Death is really about change, but it's also the process of the change that needs to occur. So with the Hunter of Death in upright position, this is giving you a sort of a grieving experience, a mourning experience, an experience that has to do with severing yourself between what was, so that you can be cleansed of it and prepare yourself for what is. So the Hunter of Death is all about a time of cleansing. And the Ten of Swords, you've definitely already completed some things for yourself. So then we move on into the communications here. Communications, I've got Dancer of Joy. Okay, so your area of new beginnings, your area of growth is going to be a very fiery one. First of all, it's going to be very fiery. You've got some new enthusiasm coming in with the Ace of Bows here, spark of life, the spark of life, right? To spark, dreams, aspirations, to inspire you to greater feats of strength and to aspire you to greatness. And you've got the Dancer of Joy telling you that your actions, everything that you do, every action you take, every step that you take is going to be in a space of joy. Now, Capricorn, I don't want you feeling a little uncomfortable about this. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. I don't know. I'm not going to judge. But the Dancer of Joy is a spontaneous card. Okay, so chances are there's going to be some ventures going on out there for you. Chances are there's going to be some, it's going to be time for you to step into a new place in your heart. You are out of the struggle. The struggle is over. It's time to get excited about your life, to do something totally random and exciting and adventurous, to be spontaneous. It's time to look for big horizons. Chances are you'll get a message, Capricorn. There's going to be a message. Maybe someone might come to you with an opportunity for you to do something. If it's traveling abroad, for example, or if there's some sort of competition or tournament or some sort of fun activity that you'd like to, go see or to get involved in or to do. The Dancer of Joy is really about doing something that's going to bring you joy. It's taking actions and steps that are going to bring you joy. And with the Ace of Bows here, your spark of life there, chances are you've got some, there's this raw energy coming inside of you, Capricorn, that this really speaks strongly about spontaneity and change. But I also see here with the King of Vessels that there might be someone in your life who may not necessarily be too happy or too thrilled about the changes that you're wanting to make. They may try to emotionally manipulate you. And this person, it seems to be very good at that. They seem to be very good at emotional manipulation. They seem to know exactly what to say, to hit the right buttons, to do the right thing. Okay, hear me out, Capricorn. I'm telling you, the spirits are saying that this is your time. Okay, this is your time, not anybody else's time. Your time. Okay, um, so give yourself permission to to feel free, to feel like the world is your oyster, to feel reborn, to feel reborn and refreshed and renewed, and to come into life as if you never, as if it's your last day, as if you never lived before, to say hello, to get excited about your life. Like, this is really a time for you to really get out there, to really create something, to really do something to rejuvenate your soul, to re-energize your battery, to give you new zest for life. It's time for you to do that. So for some of you Capricorns, do not allow for this person to get in the way of that, because this person's standing in between, right? I'm seeing a progression here. I'm seeing, okay, I got this new zest for life coming into my heart. I got new opportunities, new challenges. I feel this new spark of energy. I don't know what I want to do, but I want to get up and go do something. And then I get the dancer of joy, that you're like receiving a message. There's something that's going to get communicated to you. Maybe by a phone call, maybe someone says something, maybe through email, some sort of message is going to come your way about new opportunities that are out there on the horizon for you. Okay, this King of Vessels person may not necessarily be too thrilled about that, or may not be too happy about that. All right, and they may know exactly what to say or do in order to make you feel guilt or make you feel shame. I just want to warn you, don't let them. I just want to warn you. And if you yourself are full of guilt and shame, for those of you who are full of guilt and shame, if this King of Vessels is something that's going on inside of yourself, okay, but because this is an externalized energy, I feel very much like it's going to be something that's communicated to you. I definitely want you not to listen to this person. They are not trustworthy. They do not have your best interest at heart. The signs are showing adventure, traveling abroad, new ventures await for you. Something completely spontaneous, out there, fun, re-energizing, rejuvenating, something totally random that you never did before. If it's get up and go on a vacation to Waikiki, or to go see Cairo, or to go to Australia, or to go see Japan, just do something you've never done before. Even if that something is go to a place somewhere far away from where you live, that you've never been to before. The world is your oyster at this point. Something's going to get communicated to you about that, okay? So as far as your adventures, as far as the action steps, as far as your place of power, your place of greatness, I see lots of introspection happening for you. And I see lots of challenges coming your way too. There's definitely going to be some great challenges coming your way. And I also see with this card too, that Capricorn, there might be a part of you that might be holding on to the past. There might be a part of you that might be holding on to things that you know. Let me bring you back to the Dancer of Joy. Let me bring you back to the Ace of Bows, because those energies are totally broken away from the struggle, from the past. They are entirely broken away from what was. Okay. They are flame. They are flaming. They are moving into the future. They're futuristic. Okay, they're not worried about thinking about harboring the past anymore. They're now into the future. Okay, there's going to be some challenges that you're going to have to face, and the challenges for you are on an emotional level, Capricorn, because I've got the mirror here in reverse, which speaks about inability to give in to a new perspective, something more spiritual, something more emotional, something more of a higher perspective, something more of a different perspective, something that you need to surrender your ego to. Capricorn, there's a tendency to try to be in control all the time, and to always kind of like always know things or have a sense of control in your life, okay? Both of these energies right now, you've got to let go of control. You've got to be willing to relinquish control. Chances are these cards are coming up because they're wanting to warn you, sweetie, that you've got to be willing to relinquish control. You've got to be willing to surrender to something that you don't know anything about, okay? With the moon card, that is a place of introspection. That is a place of reflection. It's a place of purity. It's a place of healing. The moon card is here to remind you of who you are at your core, not who you've been. Okay, because who you've been is part of your past. Okay, we got the Ten of Stones here. You already completed that. You fulfilled that in the physical world. Okay, but we're talking about behind the scenes here with this energy. We're talking about what's behind the scenes. And behind the scenes, you are more than what your body gives you credit for. Spoken from John Mayer. You're more than your body gives you credit for. You are not your body. You are not your name. You are not your identity. You are not your gender. You are not your sexual orientation. You are not your skin color. You are not any of these things that have physically manifested. You are a soul, first and foremost, before you are a physical manifestation. And that can be very difficult to understand, Capricorn. It can be very difficult to... You can't fit it in a box. You can't categorize it. You cannot limit it. You can't restrict it. Okay? Because this energy is limitless. It is boundless. It is the energy behind all things. It is the energy that supports all things. I believe that your greatest challenge right now, your greatest feat of strength, your greatest aspiration for you, Capricorn, is in the spiritual realm of consciousness. Because it may have to do with letting go of control. That may be the greatest challenge. Lots of challenges are going to come your way where you are going to be uncomfortable, afraid, scared. You're going to feel overwhelmed. You're going to feel confused. You're going to feel like you don't have a handle on life. And especially when it comes to the spiritual, emotional, more transpersonal realms of existence. Okay? Because we're talking about dreams, we're talking about meditation, we're talking about trance work, we're talking about spiritual work, we're talking about the inner, the unconscious self, we're talking about journey work, like shamanic journeying, or, astral projection, things happening on a more universal scope, things that cannot be contained. Okay. And the challenge really here for you is to let go of control. I see that this is going to be very difficult for you because it's going to challenge a lot of what you think, a lot of what you believe, a lot of what you hold so close to you, a lot of what you value. Capricorn, this is a new time and space for you. Okay? This is a time where you're going to be learning something new, so says the moon. You're going to be learning something new at this time. Okay, you're going to have to learn to be the Padawan. And what new that you are learning actually derives in your spiritual. The spiritual is going to connect to what new you are learning. Capricorn, the moon is in your third house of communications. It begins in your third house. It completes in your third house of communications. Okay. Hold on. Let me back up. Let me back up here. 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 I'm having a good day today, Capricorn. Let me back up here. Let me back up here. Okay, hold on. Let me see. Fifth house. It's in your fifth house. The moon is going to be in your fifth house of romance and dating and creativity. Okay, which really talks about building on the physical, which really talks about taking the spiritual and creating it into your physical world. Okay, so this is going to be that time for you. It's going to be creating the physical into your spiritual realm of existence. Okay, so this is a very spiritual experience. What you have to do in order to get to that physical, okay, is to be able to relinquish and surrender control. You can't get to your moon's the moon's experience for you until you're able to completely and utterly relinquish control. Which your area, your third house is your area of learning, and your third house really does pertain to transpersonal, out of this world, out of body, unlimited, omnipresent ways of communication, learning empathy, learning compassion, learning about dream speech comes into your third house. So this has a lot to do with that. This has a lot to do with that. So it seems that to me that part of this is that in order for you to get to um, manifesting the physical, the creativity into your physical of the dream into your physical world, because these two are very creative. The hangman and the moon on water, they are depicting creativity in different ways. But they're depicting something that is totally above and beyond what you've ever experienced or what you know about or what you understand. So this is going to bring you into something totally spiritual, totally new, totally transcendental on purpose. Okay? And it seems that in order for you to get there, you are going to need to give yourself permission. Ooh, wow. Because then I get to your emotional. Ooh, wow. I get to your emotional Capricorn. Okay? And I'm telling you, your water, the element of water, the water path for you, wow. It talks about dying. It talks about change. It talks about death. It talks about dying to your ego. It talks about surrendering your ego, and it talks about putting it to rest, and it talks about dying to it. But then it also talks about transmuting and resurrecting and reevaluation and revelations that come to you. But it seems that you're very blocked from that journey because because you don't relinquish control here. It seems that if you don't relinquish control here, if you don't give in, if you don't surrender to the spiritual aspects of who you are, the totality, the absolute, the completeness of who you are, the purity of who you are, if you do not surrender to those aspects, I see here that you're not going to be able to receive certain revelations that pertain to your past, that pertain to experiences in your past. The Great Bear to me speaks about things that have long since been put to rest. It could have been put to rest in a past life, for example, in the past incarnation. It could have also been put to rest when you were a child. Things that you used to do as a child that you don't do anymore. You know, that have been put to rest. But all these things, like certain books you used to read, or a movie that you used to watch, or an activity that you used to do, or something that you used to just love and were very passionate about as a child, Capricorn. The Great Bear and the Journey card speaks of these things. And while one may speak of killing your ego, while one may be speaking of surrendering and allowing your ego to die, the other speaks of resurrecting. It speaks of revelation. It speaks of a moment of epiphany. That moment of like, wow, that's why I used to read that certain book when I was a child. Whoa, that's why I love that certain kind of music. That's why I like that certain kind of culture, and what it means to you now. Like it gives you new meaning. So the Great Bear talks about taking something that once was and giving it new meaning to be infused and to merge that into your world today. So it's for you to be able to use that today. And I'm seeing that energy being blocked here. And I believe that energy is being blocked because it's hard for you to get through these challenges that are happening for you. It's hard for you to let go of your material possessions. It's hard for you to let go of material things. It's hard for you to let go of your beliefs. you know, of things of your feelings and your emotions that keep you safe. It's hard for you to let go of certain material values that keep you safe. Hard for you to let go. It's very difficult for you to let go of these things. And so I see that you're gonna be having some difficulty, because then at the on the upside of that, the hunter of honor um talks about an inability to be able to be completely fulfilled and uh total. I'm going to say this word, totalized. May not be a word, but whatever. I just made it as a word today. Um, Within yourself. Okay. So the hunter of honor talks about an inability to manifest, to create absolution, to understand the mysteries, to uh, be completely total, to come to a place of omnipresence and totality, and to feel completely fulfilled within self, to be completely healed of anything that has adulterated, contaminated, corrupted, polluted your soul, to be completely purified of it, like purified water. There's this blockage happening for you there. This is a very personal spread for you, Capricorn. Very personal. I kind of want to go back to this King of Vessels here, because the King of Vessels may be bringing a warning. It may not necessarily be someone who's untrustworthy looking at the progression here. It may not necessarily be someone who's untrustworthy per se, although that may still manifest. But what it may be is an inability to listen to someone who is involved with their emotions, who is an emotional creature at heart, who has a sense of a greater understanding of spirituality, especially of spirituality, because all of these are very spiritual, and empathy and compassion and sexuality and romance. All of these are very personal spiritual aspects. I have to say that maybe there's this blockage happening for you to where you don't listen to this King of Vessels. And I think that this blockage here may be what is starting all this for you. Because I kind of also look in this progression too. I see, okay, King of Vessels comes into your life, which is a spiritual character, highly spiritual character. You'll know them. They're like a mystic. They speak in tongues. They speak about things in like riddles, or things that don't necessarily make sense, or things that are very deep, very emotional, very intimate, very deep things. Um, um, and and then that sort of this all this kind of initiates, the moon and water happening for you, where you come into this space of introspection and reflection. And it's like you come into this space of an expanded awareness and become extra sensitive to everything around you. And where you go deep inside of yourself, and where you heal. You go on this journey of purification and healing, to find your soul self, to find your higher self, to discover your higher self, to discover who you are. It seems that you go on that journey, but there's this inability to be able to conquer the challenges ahead of you. And then it's like, I die to who I am, but I'm unable to receive new revelations because I didn't allow myself to surrender to the new perspective that was coming in for me in the beginning. So this might be coming in as a warning for you, because that, ultimately speaking, keeps you away from the purification process. Capricorn, you're in a purification process right now. This month is all about purification for you. This whole month. I mean, I've got a lot of hunter. The hunters are water aspect, by the way. I've got hunter here. I've got water here, water here, water here. I've got spirit here. I've got water there. I've got water here. I've got water here. That's how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 water cards purely, okay? It's a time for deep personal truth so far. Deep personal truths, introspection and reflection, going within. This is the time for purification for you. Wow. Wow. We got the spirit of, wow. I can't even believe that. I can't even believe it. We got the spirit of truth that pops up. There's this part of me that makes me feel like you're thinking to yourself that why should I have to listen to or any of this? I mean, I've got a great life. I've got a good marriage. I mean, because I see a great marriage ceremony happening here. I don't know if some of you are getting married, but the lovers here, the forest lover speaks about a marriage ceremony. So chances are you might be getting married. If you are planning on getting married, congratulations. Um, and everything is going to be great that day for you. I get that everything is going to be a good day. That day is going to be a good day. Um, but the issue that I'm having with this whole thing is this. It might be a great day. Everything may be perfect that day. But I'm very concerned about things going on the back end for you, Capricorn. You know why? Because the hunter of honor teaches you how to have honor from within. And it teaches you how to honor relationships by understanding how to honor yourself. By understanding the purity of who you are, you get to create that in the physical world and share that with your marriage partner, for example. But I see that you're being blocked from the truth here, Capricorn. So you may have a very good wedding. You may have a very good marriage ceremony. Or maybe you renew your vows, you know, or something for some of you. I mean, for you guys, Capricorn, something is going on that has to do with partnership. Okay, a marriage. If that is an inner marriage with the self, if that is a marriage between you and a spouse, or if that whatever, but there's something that's going on that has to do with a symbolic marriage of some sort. Okay, so symbolic. You can take that as symbolic or literal. Okay, but what I'm trying to say here is that this marriage with the forest lovers that is going to happen may in fact happen, and it may be perfect. That day may be everything that you might have dreamt of it being. But the spirit of truth, you get the spirit of truth. There's no truth in it. You know, and my biggest fear, Capricorn, for you is that your marriage your marriage could be built on fear and doubt and trauma. It could be built on things from the past, as opposed to allowing it to be built from a place of rebirth. I have been reborn. I have been renewed. I have been purified. So this whole thing, I believe, is trying to prepare you for a bigger journey ahead. And this marriage is beginning a process of a bigger journey that is ahead for you. I also want to say that you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spirit cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spirit cards. Yeah, 7, because the spirit of challenge there too. So you've got 7 spirit cards. You've got 7 feeling cards, emotional cards, which talks about emotions and spirituality, and you have 7 spirit cards, major arcana cards, which talks about spiritual focus, deep personal truths, getting to the rock gut truth of who you are, getting to the rock gut truth letting go of burdens from your past that you no longer need anymore. These burdens are not going to help you moving forward into your new future, Capricorn. The responsibilities of who you were, the burdens of who you were, the thoughts, beliefs, traditions of who you were. Okay? There is a release. There's a need to release yourself from the traditions, the thought forms, the beliefs, the everything of who you were. There's a need to find yourself at the essence of self, at the essence of the co-creator here. This is a lot of 7 energy. I don't know if you guys follow, numerology at all, but this is 7 energy here. Deep personal truths, introspection. We've been talking about that all this time. Change, going within, dying to the old self. You got to be willing to completely die to that old self, though. Completely and utterly die to the old self. And allow for spirit to reintroduce back into your life the people, things, and environments that are going to match the new paradigm of who you are. You got transformation happening for you right now, Capricorn. The question is, are you going to get in your own way of creating that? So yeah, this wedding ceremony, this marriage may very well be very good. It may be very nice, okay? But how many weddings do we go into that are absolutely perfect, and it's like, oh, I can see myself being with this person for the rest of my life, and it's all this, that, and the other, and then we're in the wedding, we're at the wedding ceremony is great, and now we're actually in it. We're in it for the long haul, and what happens? How many divorce rates? You've heard about the divorce rates, I'm sure by now. The divorce rates are high, okay? The divorce rates are high because people lack the ability and awareness of honoring the self. The divorce rates are high because people are caught up in trauma. The divorce rates are high because people are caught up in their woundedness. They're caught up in the struggle of yesterday. I'm telling you, Capricorn, I'm trying to encourage you. I'm only trying to encourage you. Let go of yesterday. Let go. All of this, let go of yesterday so that you can be able to step into this new path of who you are. It's coming for you, Capricorn. One way or the other, it's coming for you. But the question is, who do you want to be when it gets there? Who do you choose to be when it gets there? That's the question. Do you choose to be somebody who's caught up in who you were in the past? Or do you choose to be somebody who is reborn and purified in the present? Who do you want to be when you get to this wedding ceremony? Do you want to be someone who's coming from a place of absolute truth? Do you want to be someone who's caught up in traditions and mundane things of the past that no longer apply to you anymore? The choice is yours, Capricorn. It's in your ballpark. The choice is yours. That is your medicine for this reading. I love you so much, Capricorn. I hope you choose what is best for yourself, for your best growth, for your best healing. I hope that you listen, that you become aware of the sensitivities of the things around you, of the insights, of the things that are happening behind closed doors very subtly. You'll be able to feel them in and out of the world. Let me tell you, you'll be able to feel these things, see and sense them in and out of the world. We've all got a different way of how we see, sense, and feel things. Remember that part too, okay? Because sometimes we're clairaudient, we hear. Sometimes we're clairsentient, we feel. Sometimes we're clairvoyant, we have visions. Sometimes, we're claircognizant, just inner knowing. Remember that we have different ways of how spirit speaks to us. Okay, so your purpose, your job is to surrender to that. To surrender to that understanding, to allow for your senses to inform you how you see, sense, and feel things at this time. Not so that you can have control, but so that you can become more aware and be in alignment, not so that you can have control of the situation. You've got to be willing to relinquish control. It may not make sense. It's not going to be logical. It's not going to be sensible. It's not going to make sense. Don't ask Spirit to make sense. Spirit, all Spirit is here to do is to guide us. And we are able to receive that guidance if we're willing to follow, to see, sense, and feel the signs and symbols there's going to be lots of that happening for you. Lots of signs and symbols and omens happening all around you, Capricorn. I'm telling you. This is a very transpersonal time for you. It's a time where you're getting ready to step into a new source of who you are. It's going to be up to you. It's all up to you. It's all up to your willingness to surrender and to accept. Allow yourself to flow like water. Let your emotions flow like water. Be in a space of acceptance. Think about how water, like a puddle of water, going down a hill. Think about it running into rocks or obstacles all along the way. And what does it do? It simply just accepts it, it builds up, and it moves around. It does not resist. It doesn't resist and try to get away from it. It accepts it. Allow yourself to be like water. Let your emotions, let your spirit flow like water this month. And that's how you're going to make it through this. Just trust and believe and have faith in it no matter what. Agala Nor, Capricorn.